Okay. So hi everyone and welcome to the Strimzi Community Meeting on November 27th, 2025. So let's go through the usual agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to raise out of the agenda before we start? It seems not. So let's move forward with usual PRs and issues. Let's start from the first one. And the first one is related to adding the support for sidecars container within the Kafka and Zookeeper pods, even if, yeah, Zookeeper pods are not a thing anymore. It was added by you, Jakub.
Might be, yes. But if I edit it, then basically for us to decide what to do about it.
If I remember correctly, there is a proposal for this, right?
As in what to do about the PR, whether we should close it in the meantime or...
Yeah, because if I remember, there is a pull request. Sorry, a proposal.
Yeah,
for
there is a
for this.
proposal. Yeah.
There is a proposal. So yeah, for me, we need to discuss the proposal first and then come back to the PR or having a PR if it makes sense to have this based on the discussion on the proposal. So for me, yeah, we should just close it for now.
+1 from me for closing. And I guess I should take a look at the proposal because I don't think I've looked at this one.
Yeah, the proposal should be, oops. This one. I will put the proposal in the minutes here. Okay, so I was saying triage done. Any objection? I will get silence as approval as usual. Okay. Then there is another one.
That's pretty much just the same. We just didn't got the proposal, I think, so far.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess this one we just marked as draft instead of closing.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a related proposal for this one?
I don't think there's a proposal for it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yes.
Should we close this then, rather than just leaving it in draft for ages?
I think the only situation where something makes sense to be in draft is when you need to run the test on something you are working and it's not yet ready for review. I
Yeah.
don't think keeping something for over 2 months in a draft just because one day someone might write a proposal makes any sense.
No, I agree. I think we can go ahead and close this one.
Okay. Okay, let me just copy this, which I'm going to write a little bit of the times. Cool. Next one. Yes, I added this. I don't know if Tina is on the call. Yes, Tina is on the call. So yes, I was actually going to approve today after several comments to Tina. Yeah, sorry Tina for that, for bothering you. But at some point, this thing caught my my eyes, which is this comment. So sorry, it's not visible here. Let me just go to the changes. Yes, this one. So during the test, Tina is setting port 8443 for the HTTP server, which is exposing the operations endpoints via TLS. And there is a comment here because Azure VMs don't allow not root users to bind low ports such as 443, which is the default. Now, in the proposal, we decided to go that the default port when you enable TLS is 443. Now, the fact that there is this situation where you cannot bind to port 443 in Azure, remind me another problem, and we have Jochen here on the call about the response code. So if we are doing something which is not supported by in this case cloud provider like Azure, so maybe I was thinking we should change the default port to be 8443 instead of defaulting 443 when the TLS port is not specified in the configuration by the user.
It's configurable, so why change the default because of that?
Yeah, because in the end, if you are trying,
Also,
if you non-configure it, you will.
What's the default HTTP port?
It's 8080, if I remember correctly.
Is it, or?
Yeah, let me double check.
Like if the default,
it is 8080.
Yeah,
if the default HTTP port is 8080, then it probably makes sense to have the default HTTPS port 8443.
Yeah, but we discussed that and made a different decision on the proposal. So yeah, I don't think that we need another proposal for that. This is what
Well,
I
I
was saying.
guess the proposal didn't say that the default HTTP port is 8080. Or
You are
why would we,
challenging
why
my
would we,
memory.
or why would we otherwise decide to have the default HTTPS port as 443?
Because it was much closer to what we have in OpenShift, I guess, which is the 443, the default. Let me see.
I guess it doesn't matter what we agreed in the proposal necessarily.
I'm not sure it matters what's in the proposal. I guess it would more matter what was discussed.
Anyway, yes, it was mentioned that the default here is 8080.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we did such a stupid decision then.
Yeah. Okay, so my question was, we all agree that we can change the default to 8443 and we can move forward with this PR?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the command there. And I'm not sure we really care what Azure VMs allow when it's configurable. For me, it's more if the default HTTP port is 8080, then the default HTTPS port should be 8443.
I'm assuming that that comment is there because we're having to override it to get the test to pass when we run them or something.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
But if
Tina?
we change the default to 8443, then that comment goes away because you won't need to override
Yes.
it to get the test to pass.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yep.
So what's the review plan for this PR?
So for me, after this change, it would be kind of approved. I reviewed and everything looks good to me.
Yeah, but like overall,
What do you mean by
does
overall?
that mean that you are going to merge it, or is Kate going to
No.
review it?
There
or...
is someone. No, I need more approvals, right? I need some other maintainers to review.
Well, technically you have Marosh approval.
Yeah, I have Marosh, I know.
But my long-term take is that it makes sense to kind of follow a bit the specializations.
Yeah, I
So I
can.
wonder if it would be good to have another reviewer from the developer, more from the production code standpoint.
Yeah, I agree.
Kate, will you have time for that?
Yeah, you can add me, Paolo.
Thanks.
So agree that the default TLS port should be 414 instead of 443.
Tina, maybe that's something what you can add also to the description of the PR as a note that that's what was an agreed
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
agreed thing which doesn't match the proposal anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Tina. And now, yeah, there is a proposal. So yes, for people who don't know, this issue was raised by Jürgen, who is on the call. I don't know if the pronunciation is right. Sorry. And so we have at some point during the life of the bridge, so we were using 200 as the HTTP code response for the health checks endpoints like healthy and ready. And at some point we moved to 204 because it sounded to us to be better in terms that you don't need a body for that. So 204 is exactly for that. So you are not replying with the content. So it was okay in the sense that it's so we didn't have anyone complaining about that, but you can raise this issue that there are some cloud providers that doesn't allow to have a different code from 200 to be the returned code from the health checks. Some cloud providers allows you to configure this value so that you can change from the 204 that we have today. So yeah, they can be changed to use 204. Some others are strictly and they cannot change anything. So the bridge looks like to be not ready, not healthy, because it's not returning 200, but 204. So we had a discussion on Slack. There is also a PR open, but then we decided to go through a proposal because it was a change anyway in the API. And the first point from me was about trying to avoid the backward to break the backward compatibility with users that are using the bridge with 204. So we went with this with the proposal of having of making this configurable. So using an environment variable where you can set don't use 204, but which is the default, but use 200. Then we have got a comment from Jakub here, and we were just discussing if we should consider this really a big breaking change, so something that we should just change the code, having the breaking change in the release note for the next release, even because together with this, we are anyway going to change the way that we are exposing the health checks endpoints. So the PR that Tina has been working about adding TLS. Yeah, so the users are going anyway to change something in order to reach the right endpoints for the health checks, because the port now will be different. It's not anymore on 8080, but it's on 8081. So at this point, because they have already to make this change, which is anyway breaking change, why not applying even here a breaking change and say, okay, so the health checks will be on port 8081 by default, and the return code will not be 204 anymore, but is 200. So yes, I will just I put the proposal here just to get more opinions. If the proposal should just be about this is about a breaking change, the code is going to change, or yeah, we want to still take the configurability of the returned code by the HTTP bridge. For me, so I actually changed my mind, because taking in some consideration the work that Tina is doing, and that anyway we are introducing a breaking change in the next release, for me at this point it's fine breaking even so making this breaking change around the HTTP code. So what are the other opinions? So I don't know if Jochen, you want to add anything else to this?
Just that I agree, right? I wasn't aware of the work to separate the management interface from the actual serving interface here, application serving interface. I think it makes sense, since this will be a breaking change, to just also change the HTTP status code in the same step. One breaking change, one thing to adapt for anyone upgrading to that version, and we're done. And it's more elegant than having this environment variable as a kind of flag for what kind of response code to return. So I'm a fan. I would actually also do this. And if I was aware of that change before, I would also have suggested just basically attaching it to that change.
Any other opinion, Sean, or different opinion?
I'm happy with the breaking change. I feel like 200 is a fairly standard successful response in these kinds of health checks. Presumably, we aren't aware of anyone who specifically requires 204. Did you say the reason you changed it was just because it seemed like a good idea because of the lack of body, rather than there wasn't nobody came and requested it specifically to be 204, did they?
No, in the past it was just
Yeah.
because we just changed it because so 204 is no content, so it's
Right.
okay, but you don't need any body.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
Yes, there was no actual request in the past of changing from 200. So anyway, bad decision happens. So
Well, it's technically correct decision. It's just that the world around it is
yeah,
bad.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I still think that 204 is better than 200, to be honest, but we have to adapt to what the cloud provider does if they are strict.
Are you going to add a response body then?
I don't think that it's needed, to be honest.
Could do, though.
Yeah, but you already know that everything is okay, right? It's in the semantic of 200. Unless you need to add more information, but right now I can't see any additional information that we want to add to the check. Anyway, it's something that it's not going. So if we think in the future that we want to add the body, with some additional information because it's needed, it's not going to break anything, at least, right? It's an addition at this point. So let me write a comment, and you can, I guess that you can go and change the proposal, just saying that we kind of approved on.
I don't think you should write a comment, just save the time on it. Jochen just needs to update the proposal and then we
Oh
can
yes,
approve it.
right. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
The question is, should I update this one or should I add a PR for the other existing one that actually addresses the management interface?
No, I will update this one and update the corresponding proposal you have, PR you have. So just take the two things separated. So fix this.
It's up to you basically. It doesn't really matter. Whatever is easier for you, I think that's fine.
Okie doke. Yeah, okay. I'll take care of that one.
Sorry, guys, I lost what you meant by what's easier for you. What?
It doesn't matter, Paolo. Either this proposal is updated or a new one is opened and this one closed.
Ah, okay. No, because I was thinking not the other proposal. I was thinking to the PR from Tina. So I was thinking the two things have to be different things. So one TLS, the other one the return code. Yeah, I got it.
Well, obviously,
wrong.
whatever is merged first, the next one needs to rebase, right? But
yes, right. Yeah.
You don't know what will be merged when yet, so.
Okay. And okay, I see that someone changed the order. That's fine. And morning call. Wait, actually, sorry. Other proposals or other stuff that you want to discuss? Okay, so let's move next. Morning call timing. Maybe you, Kate?
Yes, that was me. I was trying to find the comment that I left. So yeah, this is me going on again about timings of the next. So the next Strimzi community call. I put up a poll. That's what I'm just trying to find. I should have searched for it earlier. I don't think I got many people to respond on the poll of whether they minded about the timing of the meeting. So I guess we need to make a decision. I think last time I checked, there were a couple of people. There was me and one other person who said, yeah, let's move it. And then a couple of people who said they don't mind. So do we want to just leave it as is and see? And if we don't get enough people for phone calls, then we can change the time at that point. But we just need to decide what we're doing.
That was for moving the morning call 1 hour ahead, right?
1 hour later.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.
Because, for example, from a UK perspective, it's 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yes. It's a purely selfish discussion on my part.
Well, to be honest, for me, it doesn't make any big difference, of course.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like there was strong, like, yes, we should move it. So I'm kind of happy for us to leave it and then see if we don't get enough attendees to the morning meetings and we keep having to cancel, then we can really look at it at that point. As I said before, it's not impossible for me. It would just be slightly easier if it's an hour later.
Well, we didn't get anyone saying I'm strongly against it or I'm strongly for it. So I would say if it makes your life easier, I would say we can move 1 hour later. For me, it doesn't make any change, 9, 10, it's the same. So I am fine to moving the call 1 hour later.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on that. Personally, for me, the later the better, because I'm not a morning person. So even though I'm not in the UK time and I have it only at 9 a.m., it's middle of the night for me. But I think one thing to keep in mind is that the original schedules for the times were to reach as much as possible from Asia or APAC in the morning call and as much from Americas in the afternoon call.
Yeah.
And this way we kind of pull them together and make it, let's say, slightly less available to the APAC region. We probably don't have many people connecting from there, so
Yeah,
maybe it
exactly.
doesn't matter, but it's something worth keeping in mind.
Yeah, I added a post at some point saying, if you do not currently attend but would if they were at a different time, let me know. And nobody responded to that. So that's why I'm kind of like,
nobody responds to anything.
so that's why I kind of like maybe we just leave it? It seems like no one is opposed to us moving it, but I feel like we should need to decide either yes or no. We'll reconsider if something changes.
To be honest, I'm fine moving 1 hour later. If someone from Asia will come and say, I don't know, for any reason on Slack, I can't join the call because it's too late for me, we can adapt somehow. But
Did you ask Luke? I think he was joining from time to time.
Yeah. So I spoke to Luke directly about it, and he said 9 a.m. UTC is fine with me. Thanks for the notice.
Yeah, and I guess move it, and if someone has problem with it, they can come up later and complain.
Luke is too nice to tell you it's late.
Well, it makes it.
Everyone is responsible for his own life and his own happiness.
I mean,
I know.
so, Kate, are you going to make the change on the calendar?
Yeah,
No,
I can.
so wait. The meeting timing is managed by CNCF. If any one of you has access to the project portal from Linux Foundation, you should be able to change it there.
Okay.
That's where we should change it in the first place. Then we can change it in our calendar.
I don't know if I have access to that.
I don't have access to that, but I think it's because I have like 3 different accounts with Linux Foundation, and that's
Anyway,
a complete chaos.
What I was
We
going to say was
should-
I can take responsibility for working out where we need to change it and things.
Maybe, I don't know, there is a service from CNCF for opening a ticket if I remember correctly, but I don't remember the address.
Yeah, but you should try first see if you can do it in the self-service portal.
Yeah.
Can you give me the link to the self-service portal, or can you share here and see?
It's not like I have it because I can't log into it, so
Well, we can sort this out async, but yeah, I'm happy to take responsibility for making sure we do the things that we need to do to change the timing of the meeting, including changing it in the minutes here and on the GitHub repo, etc. And to be clear, the agreement is that we're changing it to 9 a.m. UTC, which means in summertime it will still be at 9 a.m. UTC. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so let me see. Kate will take care editing the morning call time 1 hour later, both on calendar and portal. CNCF portal. Okay, thanks, Kate.
So I also added the next one, which was a question of, it seemed like we have quite a lot of issues backed up for triage. And so do we need to have an ad hoc triage call at some point?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I guess we need to decide when.
Yeah, no objections. Are you going to set up this one as well?
Yeah, I can go find a time. I guess I'll post in Strimzi Dev
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Kate. Now I see docs. Who was the one adding these two docs?
That's me, Paolo.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Right. Yeah, so the first one, I think we discussed it on a previous call, and I think it was raised by Kate to look into the configuration for the mirror maker. And because we had a huge one example with every possible configuration option. So that was split up. So we now have a minimal configuration, and then we have kind of jobs to be done on top of that for configuring replicated topic naming and synchronizing consumer group offsets and that kind of thing. And I think it works really well. So, and actually we also extracted the common configuration. So we've got a common configuration at the bottom of that chapter, which is in section 11.12. So I thought I'd raise it here. The question, should we take the same approach with the other components? I tend to think we probably should at least extract the common configuration. Now we've got a common configuration section, but maybe we could think about splitting in a similar way in terms of additional configuration beyond the minimal configuration too. So yeah, thoughts on that?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. What exactly would you like to do?
So for the mirror maker configuration content, we've now got a minimal configuration, and then we have what additional configuration you might want to add on top of that, such as configuring replicated topic naming and that kind of thing. And we extracted out all the common configuration, rack awareness, and probes and that kind of thing, and that's in a separate section. So my question is, do we want to do a similar thing for the other components, Kafka Connect, that kind of thing?
I feel like we
Bridge.
could consider it. If you open configuring the HTTP bridge, Paolo, I feel like this is an example of one where we haven't done it. It's 11.11. You were just next to it. So if you look at this one, I think this is similar to what we had for Mirror Maker before, right? So it's quite a big file. If you scroll down, there's quite a lot of different sections listed in here. And actually, if you were going to deploy the bridge, you don't need to know about all of these immediately. So I guess the suggestion is similar to what we did with Mirror Maker, have like this is kind of the minimal set of configs, and then have specific sections that say like configuring JMX or whatever the different sections would be. So it's kind of, rather than somebody who's never used the bridge before coming to configuring the bridge and being given like, here's all the possible config options ever, they're kind of given like, here's a starting point, and then there's different topics to delve into the like more complicated config that might not be the first time.
Honestly, this is a lose-lose situation. When you have the full config there, like you have now for the bridge, half of the users will think that they need to copy and use everything what's there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have the minimal configuration like you have for the Mirror Maker 2, half of the users will never put the one and one together and understand that they can add or should add the other options there. So like, I'm fine if you want to change it that way, but I don't think there's some way to say that one thing is better or worse or than the other. There will be always half of the user confused by it.
My feeling is that we should do it on a case by case basis per component, and I think that the area where I feel like it's most useful is where there's enough configuration that it makes it actually a bit tricky to read. So the reason we did it for Mirror Maker was because there were so many config options that actually it was really hard for you to understand which number at the bottom you have to do. You almost have to open the file twice so that you can see the description next to like what field it is and stuff. And so that was kind of the motivation. So for me, I feel like I agree that you're going to have problems in either direction, but at least if you have like a minimal config and then the set ones, I think it's probably easier for people to parse, oh, okay, so this configuration is for this thing, rather than you having this massive file and having to like scroll up and down or open it 2 times and I feel like we should be making there are probably a bunch of configs that what am I trying to say? I feel like as a user, if you hit into a problem where you go like, oh, this doesn't work, or I need to configure TLS, or I need to configure this extra thing, this isn't working, you're more likely to then look for the extra bit. So I feel like you're probably more likely to end up with people configuring everything that they don't need to and not realizing they don't need to, versus people not realizing they can find the extra config, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense to me. I was saying that for me, so other than the reading issue that you mentioned about opening the windows 2 times, for me it's I think that for a user it's even better starting with something minimal that it's going to work, maybe out of the box, instead of as Jakub saying, they are anyway using the example, so copy pasting, and then they realize that a lot of things are failing, and then they engage in GitHub with discussion issues on Slack channel asking questions, but then realizing that they are configuring things that they don't need because the example was this way. So as you said, for me it's better starting from minimal. Then you realize that you need, I don't know, TLS metrics, go to the documentation and see, okay, what are the extra bits that I should add? So I am +1 for this kind of separation.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And also
I'm
with
absolutely convinced that that does not help, Paolo. If you check the discussions we have in Slack and so on, how many people never realize how to configure TLS and try to configure it through the Kafka options? There are just so many users who don't read the documentation. Like, as I said, I don't think doing this makes it worse. So as far as I'm concerned, go for it, but don't expect that this will be in any way better than it was before. Like, do it if you think that the documentation maintenance will be better, for example. But if you don't think that it's easier to maintain, then it's a waste of time. I'm absolutely 99.999% sure that it will not lead the users to use it in a better way.
I think it makes the documentation easier to scan. But what we're left with there with the minimal configuration for Mirror Maker is the recommended and required, which I think is quite useful. And then at a minimum with the other components, we've got the section 11.12 now, which has got the optional common configuration. So at the very least, I think to be consistent, we should extract those from the other components, and then we can maybe see what's left, but with an eye maybe to splitting some of that configuration too, kind of in 2 phases.
Yeah, I agree that I feel like it makes it easier to scan. I think it makes it easier to find things. For the users who actually use the documentation, I think making it easy to find the configuration and understand what the configuration is for. For that reason, I'm pro us making these changes. I agree there's going to be plenty of users who still don't read the docs, and that's not helpful. But I think, well, I mean, it makes my life easier. So
Yeah, but when we talk about the users, right, you always get people on Slack channel just to complain about what's going wrong, right? Which is the life when I don't know, you have a customer service and you always call the customer service to say I have an issue. You never call the customer service to say everything works fine for me. You are great. So I think that maybe there are users that read the documentation, found the documentation useful. So maybe improving the documentation is much better than leaving the status that it has today. So yes, for me again, it's +1 to make it consistent with what we have with Mirror Maker.
Well, obviously the users who figured out from the current documentation how to do it, they don't need it to be changed. You know?
Yes, that's true. So
those are not the ones you are targeting.
no, I feel like I'm
yes.
mostly targeting myself. When I try and deploy things and I need to check configuration, I find it much easier if I know like, oh, I wanted to test this thing, or I wanted to try this config, rather than trying to scan the whole thing or try and scan the list at the bottom and be like,
You are a maintainer, you should not need to read the documentation.
I'm
You should
not
go to
going to
the
be able
code
to
directly.
memorize every single configuration option that Strimzi has. I'm sorry, that's not happening.
No, you should go to the API model and read directly the code.
Yeah, I do often do that, to be fair. I just open the CRD YAML.
If I can just say something, I think one key aspect is to make it consistent across documentation. So it looks like currently some of it is the full example, some of it is like the minimum, and so at least make it consistent across. I don't really have a horse in this race, as long as it's consistent. But the other thing, so if you bring back one of the big examples, for example, like the mirror maker, even the minimal example. So Paolo, yeah, if you bring back the
Which one? Sorry, Michael.
like
The minimal.
Even the
Okay.
mirror maker minimal, I think it was already visible on that thing.
Yeah,
I wonder if using numbers here and below the description is like not a great pattern. I mean, you can have comments next to the numbers. Here, even you see, even with the minimal thing, you cannot have the thing, well, the YAML and the description. It just does not fit, even with a small file. It's not possible. So I don't know if, I mean, maybe it's this documentation pattern to put numbers, but could we put the comments next to the numbers, or like at least a short, maybe you can have like a larger paragraph below, but with more details, but just, because you see, even like with the smallest bit, you either have the YAML or you have the description, but you don't have both.
You would need to make the descriptions really short so that they fit the screen, because it's formatted as a code. So if you just put it behind the line, then yeah, it would not break. If you would want to break, then you would need to edit as a comment above the option and break it manually. But overall, one thing to keep in mind is that the code formatted things don't add any breaks depending on your screen size.
Yeah, but there's already plenty of comments in here. See, like, for example, the Kafka version, there's already Kafka version, it's already there.
I don't know, scroll down a bit, Paolo. I think some of the descriptions, I'm not sure whether they are here, but some of them are pretty long
number
for some of the items.
It's kind of short. You can probably put it there.
I think it's for the less used. I think the default configs are fairly self-explanatory, like the minimal ones. I think the ones further down have longer descriptions. I mean, it's a fair point. Like we could put some sort of description, or even have, instead of the numbering system, have the name of the field or something.
That's what I actually. Sorry to interrupt, but that's the new direction we meant to be going in. All the call outs should be bullets with the key and the value now, or the key and description. So at some stage I need to do that.
But I think in terms of it, you being able to see it, you can at least now it's short enough that you can see if you like scroll up slightly, you can see number one and see the description. You can't see the whole of the YAML and the whole of the description, but because they're numbered and then they're numbered underneath, you can actually see the things at the same time now. Which
What
you
about
before there was like 34 of them, so there was no way.
the minimal thing is just 5 lines longer. You go back to the same issue.
Yeah. But it's minimal,
Just,
so
you
hopefully we
just
don't
need
have that.
you just need the correct screen.
Get a bigger screen.
Yeah. Can we write down somewhere, Paul, an issue to fix that topic 2 is in bold for some random reason?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
I don't think that's that easy to fix because that has something to do how the website is rendered.
Is it something to do with the
I think sometimes it decides to kind of render the code in some weird fashion.
strange?
I doubt it will be bold in the code there.
It might need something escaping, maybe the ASCII docs doing something, thinking there's some format in there that isn't.
Okay, so it seems the agreement is to move forward with the change, right? Paul, it's something up to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about it, so I just wanted to confirm what direction we should go in. So it seems like we're going to go for that.
And then the next one, still on you, Paul.
Yeah. So we have a section in the Mirror Maker content again. That so we had this table, and I think it was requested by Tom and Ari originally, but I don't think we had the same content in the Kafka documentation at the time, so it seemed like a useful addition. But it looks like all of this is explained quite well in the Kafka documentation now. So it came up in a PR recently, whether we should continue to include it. I think it's out of date now as well, so that's another thing.
I'd say let's not duplicate efforts and let's point to the Kafka docs if
Yeah.
it seems like it's just a list of the underlying Kafka config, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no reason for us to keep our own copy of that.
Yeah, to take it synchronized.
I think originally it was because some of the properties related to a particular connector or other. But I think it's all pretty well laid out in the Kafka docs now.
Okay, so it seems that the decision is to remove this table.
Yeah, if there's no objections.
Okay. So if there is nothing else, we have 5 minutes. I don't know if it makes any sense to start issue triage, or do we want just to start with the dedicated call that Kate is going to set up.
7 minutes, you should start with it.
If
Yeah,
you want to start, let's start.
We've got a few which I think might be quite easy to sort out.
So document HA deployment, this is for the bridge. I think that it's something that we never came to do since 2018. I guess it's about, so we know that you cannot have more instances of the bridge. It's problematic from the consumer side. It's easier from the producer side. In the past, I think that I wrote a document about how to have several instances of the bridge for the consumer side in order to share some information, because you are kind of bound to a specific instance of the bridge when it's about the consumer. But yeah, I don't think that right now we have any kind of so it's not a priority on our list to trying to come with anything about HA deployment. And also it's pretty old issue. No one came back. So I would be for closing it for now.
Do we need to document that it is not possible? Or just put it in this issue, I guess?
Yeah, good point.
We just need to add a sentence somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can add something on documentation saying what are the issues of.
I guess
Yeah,
there's no way to
maybe.
know when the thumbs ups were added. They might be recent thumbs up or they might be from 2018.
Yeah. So maybe, Paul, we can sync in order to add a sentence into documentation to make a statement about this one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, close comment.
I suppose you should close as won't do.
Wait, do you?
Or-
Yes.
Well, I guess you should leave it open until you've documented it, right?
Yeah,
Or added the
exactly.
statement.
Sorry, what you said, Kate?
You should leave it open until you've added the sentence.
Yeah, you're right.
To be honest, it will be more than a sentence at the end.
Yeah, we will come with something. Yeah.
Remove needs triage.
I get suggestions from the other maintainers.
Not sure that was smart.
Website improvements.
Because you end up exactly something like this. Where several months later, someone adds the needs triage label again because it was still not done.
Yeah, we will try to address this. I don't say tomorrow, but next week, right, Paul? At least opening a PR.
Yeah,
We can
yeah, absolutely.
let's try to make something better.
I vote
Website
close
improvement.
this one.
Sorry,
I vote close this one.
you already closed this one.
No, I vote to close it.
You vote to close it. Yes. Yeah, it's the same for me. Even because I was poking around the website again, and some of these things, for example, this way of highlighting the several section is not anymore in our website. Also, I went through the website on my Android and tablet before the call. And at least for me, it looks okay. I don't see any kind of improvements that we can make here. So let's close it. Close as not planned. Okay, let's remove this one as well. And it's 6 p.m. here. So the end, we will continue this triage during the call that Kate will set up for us. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and see you next time.
Thanks, Paolo.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks very
Bye.
much. Bye all.
Bye bye.